Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. My name is Caitlin and I'm currently in the kitchen doing a project. And I thought, you know what, I'll bring you guys along and we'll talk about what I'm currently doing. So, fair warning right off the bat, this is not my idea, but I love this idea and I've been doing it all weekend. So I thought, let's share it and discuss some of the different ways that I do this. So what I'm currently doing is I'm canning cherry jam. My parents got a new freezer this weekend, and so we ended up going through their old freezer and moving everything over to the new freezer and going through everything. And in that process, we found a lot of things that were old and had to be used up. So I am always someone who I don't want to waste things. I like to use things. I don't like things to go bad. And so in going through her freezer, we found a lot of things that were old. I gotta add some more water here. So we found chicken, blueberries, and cherries that have been multiple years old. I think these cherries are from June of 2021. It's 2025 right now. It's July of 25. And the chicken was November 2022, so that needed to be used. And the blueberries, I think, were also from the summer of 2021. So a lot of old things that I'm like, we're not putting these in the new freezer. We're getting them out, we're processing them, and we're moving them out. So every day this weekend, I have been processing, which reminds me of the challenge that I'm going to hopefully introduce you guys to if you haven't heard about it, and then we'll talk about what I like to do. So there is a challenge that starts right around now, which is great because we're right in the midst of harvest season, where you preserve just one thing a day. And you take one thing from your garden and you preserve it in some way so that it can feed you later on. So I'm counting the things that I've done all weekend. I'm counting this as preservation because it's going to feed me through the winter. So I'm just low on water. I'm water bathing this cherry jam that we made, and I need more water. So I made blueberries. We had about 20 some cups of blueberries, and that's not even all of them. That's just some of them. And I will be honest, the blueberries are a little maybe on the tough side. Let me get this going. So I canned them. I tried doing a pie syrup or a pie filling, but I was a little low on my easy gel. So it's not quite as pie filling-y as it should have been, and I forgot I could have used cornstarch. But I didn't. So I was low on one ingredient, so it's not as pie filling-y as it should be. And then the second one, because I was out of the easy gel, I just did blueberries in syrup. And so I got about 8 jars of canned blueberries. And while they are a little tough, I think these are going to be great in baked products. I'm thinking blueberry muffins, blueberry pancakes, blueberry French toast. I think these will be really good in a baked product. So I have a whole bunch of jars on my shelf. And again, I make the mental note that come fall, come winter, I need to do some baking with some blueberry products. So that was something that I could take out of the freezer. We didn't throw it away, but there's really nothing else you're really going to do with it at this point. So we canned it. It'll last longer on the shelf, but I will make that mental note to start baking with blueberries. So if you're my friend in real life and I start showing up the potlucks with blueberry items, this is why. The other thing we did is we canned chicken. My mom had about 5 chicken breasts that were from November of 2022. Like I said, it's July of 2025. I'm like, we're not putting them in the new freezer. We're going to cook them up and we're going to can them. So I canned 3 pints. I did keep a little bit out for dinner one night. I just got these out of the canner. 1 pint didn't seal, and they've been sitting for about 24 hours. I honestly probably could have recanned it, but I don't really mess with that kind of stuff. So I say I have an iron stomach. I don't want to take that iron stomach for granted. So we had 2 pints of chicken. Again, it's not going to get frostbite in the freezer at this point anymore. And these are at the front of my shelf. And these are the first 2 cans of the shredded chicken that I'll use in the upcoming weeks. I love to use shredded chicken for easy weeknight meals. I was telling my girlfriend about it because she had never done it. She's just kind of starting to get into cannon. And I was telling her, and I'm like, I love to pull this out and make nachos. Just throw it on top of some chips and make up a nice nacho platter. This also makes, if you want to make shredded tacos, it's also really good as like a pulled barbecue chicken. Just add barbecue sauce, throw it on a bun, or put it on a big roasted potato. Put this into soup, like a chicken noodle soup. Your chicken's already done. Just grab some corn from your freezer, some chicken broth from making the chicken. Easy peasy dinner put together. So really the shredded chicken, what I used it for this weekend was I stuffed a zucchini with shredded chicken. I made a jalapeno popper, stuffed zucchini, which was really, really good. So the shredded chicken, I think, comes in really handy a lot of times. So I'm taking this from the freezer and then put it on my shelf. It lasts longer on the shelf as long as it's sealed and those jars don't unseal. And it saves room in the freezer. So win-win. And I'm counting this as preserving because it's otherwise stuff that would have gone bad. So this is another opportunity for you to preserve something every single day. Go through your freezers and pull some stuff out that might be getting a little old and see how you can preserve it. So when we were going through her freezer, we're going through a lot of stuff. She had some sausage that at first I was going to try to save, and then I realized that the sausage was just too freezer burnt that was not going to happen. But I was thinking, like, okay, what can I make with sausage for like a freezer meal for the freezer? So get the sausage out and cook it, and then turn it into something else. I didn't really know what my plan with that was. I was thinking more along the lines of maybe like a stuffed kind of stuffed shell type thing, or like dice the sausage up and put it into like a spaghetti sauce and do like a spaghetti pie for the freezer. But taking something that otherwise might be kind of on the way out, or I need to get this out of the freezer and turn it into something else that can last a little bit longer and that you'll eat quicker. So the whole purpose of this preservation challenge is to really get you in the mindset of what can you do every single day to help you preserve something for future eating. So the whole reason I grow my garden is because this is how I eat my food. I eat my food almost year round as much as I can from the garden. So the amount of things I have to buy from the store are very, very minimal. 98% of my grocery purchases are staples like sugar and salt and flour and baking soda and baking powder. I really gotten to the point where I make as much as I can. There's not too much that I can make that I don't make. I have two things I can make but I don't make because I'm kind of scared are yogurt and sour cream. I've never made either one of those. I would like to learn, but right now I'm scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little intimidated. But while I was doing my my cherry jam, this is today's preservation project, I was already thinking about tomorrow's preservation project. And one of my things that I like to do is I don't like to waste anything. I like to find a way to use everything I possibly can. So I ground up my cherries. I blended them with my immersion blender, and there are a couple pits left in there. I gotta pick these pits out. I think there was two. I gotta find number two. Oh, there it is. I heard it. I ground up my cherries, and I was left with like kind of like a gritty texture. I should have poured that into my cherry jam. Oh well. But I was left with this gritty texture that I'm like, that's not going to be fun for jam. When I made my raspberry jam, I had the exact same thing. I had leftover raspberry pulp that I'm not going to eat. It's very seedy. But it's still a byproduct of what I was making. What I like to do with these, with all these leftovers, I love to dehydrate them. So dehydrate this raspberry seedy bulkiness that's left over, dehydrate the cherry seedy bulkiness that's left over, I guess not seedy, but cherry bulkiness that's left over, and turn that into a powder, a cherry powder, a raspberry powder. And then when I'm baking, I can add that into icings, I can add that into cookies, I can add that into cakes. I can just sprinkle this on top to give a little bit more raspberry flavor. So this is a way that I can take something that otherwise would have been thrown away and turn it into another product that I use in my kitchen. Another big example of this is my tomato skins. When I make tomato sauce, let's go over here and I'll show you. When I make my tomato sauce, we'll talk about this one too. I'm left over with all my skins from my tomatoes. Dehydrate that and I turn that into tomato paste. I'm actually getting low on my tomato paste, so I need to get some. But this is a dehydrated powder. You take about 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, about 1.5 tablespoons of water, and you just reconstitute it and you're left with a tomato paste. If you don't like this as a tomato paste, because again, it is a little bit, it's not as smooth as a store-bought tomato paste, but it works really, really well. If you don't like that idea, you can just add this as tomato flavor. Add it to store-bought spaghetti sauce or maybe even your spaghetti sauce. Add it to meatloaf. Add it to tacos. Add it to ground beef. I love to make like a homemade hamburger helper where it's like the hamburger and the cheese and the noodles and the deliciousness. Add this and it gives it just a little bit of tomatoey flavor. Really good product. Another one that this jar was full when I did this. It's been a couple years at this point. Takes me a while to eat it, but I'm about probably almost halfway down. This is my Tabasco powder. So I took my Tabasco peppers that I grew, I made Tabasco sauce, and from the skins, I ground it up and made this powder. I also have a Sugar Rush peach powder that I also haven't used. This one I've used more. Sugar Rush peach, I haven't used that much because I keep forgetting that I have it. But you grind the peppers up, and this is a really spicy powder. A little spicy. But this is a great way, again, to add spice. When I make tacos, I love to add this into tacos. When I make meatloaf, those are, I guess, the red meat, I really like to add this too. I did add this when I made my stuffed zucchini popper, my jalapeno popper stuffed zucchini. I added some of this into it for a nice little bit of heat. So keeping a lot of your things like that you would normally consider waste, keep it and turn it into a powder and see how you can use that powder. Speaking of powders, another way you can preserve is to think about your herbs. So go to your herb cabinet and see what you have on here. So I have parsley and I have oregano. Okay, cool. I have them growing. I'm already cutting them off and drying them. Awesome. But then I have Italian seasoning. I have Montreal steak seasoning. I have taco seasoning. I have all kinds of spice blends. And so you can now go and harvest a lot of your herbs in the mindset of you want to make these spice blends. So you can harvest them all, put them all together, let them all dry together, and then just grind them up and you have this own spice blend. So harvesting herbs for drying for your spice cabinet is a great way to preserve a little bit every single day. So the challenge is really fun. The challenge is all about going out to your garden or going to your farmer's market and getting things here and there to help you really kind of start the challenge of preserving as much as you can. It's the beginning of July, and we are at the very beginning of the absolute madness that garden season brings. I have 5 zucchini right now on my counter. I have 4 plants just busting with zucchini out in the garden. I harvested 22 pounds of potatoes a couple days ago, so I have to process them. I have to process my zucchini. I have peas that are coming out that I got to keep. I'm hoping I get another process out of them. I like to freeze some peas. I have beets that will be coming out any day. I have onions coming out any day. So I have a lot of things that we're kind of just waiting for them to come out of the garden. And then as soon as they do, we have to process them. And so right now is a really, really fun time to kind of get yourself going and get yourself, because up till now, I'll be honest, I don't feel like doing anything. It's hot outside. I don't want to heat up my house. I'm good. But we have to kind of get ourselves in the mindset of the garden's about to come in force. I just harvested my first cabbage. I do need to process that. I'm going to cut it into cabbage steaks and put it in the freezer. What else is there? There was something else I needed to do. I have other cabbage get ready to come out of the ground, and that's going to get turned into sauerkraut. So we need to kind of force ourselves, if we're not ready to go, if we're not rearing at the bit to go, we need to force ourselves a little bit to get ourselves in the mindset of preservation. So that's why I really like this challenge. I think it's really fun to every day just start thinking, what can I do? And it can go from anything like making jam on a weeknight to just going and harvesting some herbs or harvesting some flowers. That's another great way to help preserve things around your garden. Now, flower preservation, maybe you're doing it, maybe you're not. I'm harvesting straw flowers this year with the intention of drying for fall and winter kind of bouquets. I am 100% doing that. However, I love, come over here. I love just having a nice bouquet. So I didn't make up the rules for this challenge, but I say if all you do one day is you harvest yourself a bouquet of flowers, that counts as preservation. Another thing that I say counts as preservation is to start getting your winter medicines under control now. So I am a huge proponent of having your own herbal medicine cabinet. And right now, with everything growing, everything coming in, there's so much for you to forage. There's so much goodness out there for you to take advantage of. The way I like to tell people who are new to herbal medicine, when you see a plant outside, it doesn't matter what it is, weed, flower, whatever, Google that plant and Google medicinal. Weeds, especially. Get in the habit of looking for weeds. Almost every single weed has a medicinal purpose. And so you can learn how to harvest them and turn them into a medicinal item. One of my favorite ones, the one I swear up and down, one side to another, is my honey garlic. Honey garlic is my go-to medicine. If I'm around someone that's sick, if I start feeling kind of crappy, I take a spoonful of my honey garlic. Now, a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I went on a work trip and I came home and I wasn't home for 2 hours and I started getting sick. One thing for me is when I get sick, I have a tell in my back. My back goes. It's not like my back, like I throw my back out, but like I just have a pain in my back that only comes when I am sick. I am sick. And by that point, typically by the time I feel that pain, I just go straight to NyQuil and DayQuil. I'm just like, go to the heavy hitters. But this day, I just started feeling the twinge of the back pain. And I started chugging this like nobody's business. I did a couple different things I'll talk about, but I, every 20 minutes, was taking a spoonful of this. And within 2 hours of doing my medicinal routine, I felt completely fine. At this point, I haven't gotten sick in at this point, it's almost 2 years. And I only say 2 years ago, I got really sick. I was on steroids and that shut down my immune system. I don't take steroids anymore. Other than that, it's been a very long time since I actually got sick. But now I have a little bit of an ego. We got to hit that 2-year mark. I'm 2 months away from the 2-year mark. And then we're going to hit the 3-year mark. And I'm never going to get sick again. This is my whole plan. So my honey garlic is one of my favorite things to do. So you see here, my jar is almost empty. I have a little bit of honey, lots of garlic. So I started my second batch of honey garlic. So over the summer, over the summer, many people don't get sick. Colds typically run through winter. So I wanted to get my honey garlic started now so that it has plenty of time to ferment and get nice and healthy and good for me before my current one runs out. So this is just going to sit for the next probably 3 months, 2 months, 3 months. I'm going to come turn it every day. And I'll keep this one as a backup in case I do start feeling a little crappy. I can still take this one. However, once these ones have set, they only honestly need to sit for about 2 weeks. I'm going to go for at least a month or two. Once these are done, this one will get relegated to food and I'll start using this for cooking instead of just for a spoonful. But that's something. Garlic is coming in right now. Many people harvest their garlic around 4th of July. So garlic is something you can 100% find at at farmers markets. And same with honey. It's summer. Honey is coming in like crazy. Go buy some local honey and you can whip this up in no time. It's just half a jar of garlic and top it off with honey and turn it. That's another great way to preserve. I also like to use this time to make my medicinal teas. I have a couple different teas that we've done before. I have a video on it. But teas and tinctures, soaps, balms, oregano in vodka. Just take some fresh oregano from your garden, soak it in vodka for 6 to 8 weeks. That tincture, when it's done, is great on cuts and bruises and burns and any kind of skin ailment. And then you can use that to put into your soaps that you make, into hand creams that you make, anything like that. Now is also the time to think about those soaps and those creams. You could make them just for yourself now, or you could make them as a Christmas present. So just maybe you start the oil now. You get the herbs, you get calendula and rosemary and dandelion and plantain. You kind of start these oils, you start making these tinctures, and then you can turn them into soaps and creams either now or later this fall. So now is a really, really fun time when there is so much happening to think about how you can challenge yourself to preserve a little bit every day. And if you don't do it every single day, if you're kind of running out of things to think about, you don't have to do it every single day. But just kind of try to challenge yourself to think about, what can I preserve right now? And that can be you can, that can be you freeze, that can be you dehydrate and you dry. There are so many options of what you can do, but there is so much that you can do that you can start now. And by the end of summer, you've put up a ton of food, a ton of medicinal products, a ton of soaps, a ton of whatever you want. But you start now and you start small. And by the end of summer, it will have really added up. So I just wanted to bring you guys along because I feel like I didn't really realize I was starting the challenge yet, but I did. I canned and preserved something every single day for the past 4 days, I think. So we're going to keep going with this challenge. I might not bring you guys along for every single day, well, I probably won't because that's a lot. But I'll try to keep you updated on if I get something done every day and what I get done. So today, on day 4, is cherry jam. Day 1 was blueberries. Day 2 was I turned blueberries. I didn't preserve it, but I turned blueberries into sugar cakes. And I count that. And I did something else on Saturday, but I forget. But then the next day was the canned chicken. And then now we are at the cherry jam. So and then tomorrow is going to be the dehydration. I'm going to dehydrate the powder, I'm going to dehydrate the cherry leftover bits and the raspberry leftover bits to make a powder. And that will go on my bacon shelf. I don't think I have any in here. I have a big cherry or a big strawberry thing, but I don't see it in here. I must have moved it. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Let me know if you do this, and let me know what interesting and maybe unique things you're doing. I think we can all maybe use some inspiration, but I think it's going to be a fun challenge. Just maybe think outside the box a little bit and really challenge ourselves to see how much we can do and how much food we can put back. Again, it can be a little bit, it can be a lot. It's all up to you. You get to make the rules. But at the end of the summer, we're going to be loaded down with food, and I'm so excited about it. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye, friends.